replaced by us. So, let me introduce this for everybody. Welcome to episode 114 of the Crossover Podcast. My name's David. This is Paul. You might be familiar with who we are from League of Legends, TikToks, everything else, you name it. But this is going to be a call-in special episode. Yes, we're jacking Hotline League strategy for at least a little bit while we got a down week to see what is going on and what people's pulse on esports is right now and gaming in general. So if you want to call in, Con already has it set up in chat, which, by the way, thank you, Con, for doing so. It has a link to our Discord. All you have to do is hop in the lounge chat, and we will pull you in one by one. We will get through everybody. You have any take at all, come on in. We'll bring you in, we'll talk, and we'll have a good time.
Yes.
Am I missing anything in terms of instructions?
No. I think that makes sense. And then do you want to shout out your Battle of the Diehards again?
Well, the update on that is that not going to be doing that just yet.
Okay.
Holding off until the off season, just because FlyQuest had their event last week. I now have something going on Saturday that's going to prevent me from being able to do stuff like into the evening, which is when this would have to happen. So I'm just going to save it for a time where I'm better prepared to do it.
Yep.
But I think it's a good thing. At least we had, the important part for me was we had something this past weekend with FlyQuest. Better than nothing. But
agreed.
Also, being entirely honest, I was talking to Heely about this earlier, but going through a bit of, I think, seasonal depression at the moment, where it's like earlier today, I already put out a video. We're obviously streaming tonight, and the Crossover Podcast like goes out tomorrow on a delay on like YouTube VODs. But I'm sitting here like trying to think through like the next month and a half of YouTube content and like reinvent the wheel and like think through shorts and everything else. And it's just like, I'm overthinking massively, and like I can't get myself to stop. So I tried playing some games to like get my mind off of it, but like even that didn't like fully work, and it was just like, it's one of those where like I feel like I'm not doing enough when I know I'm doing enough. But
well, we're in the tease section of life too, where the weather decides to go, hey, do you like 60 degrees? Isn't this nice? And then it goes, here's 30 on the weekend when you can actually go outside. It's terrible. I hate it. Because like all of Sam's days off are 40 and lower.
That 60-degree day killed me. Absolutely killed me. Because now I go outside and it's like, I just want it to be 60 already. Like you bear the cold and it's like, screw it, I'm not putting on pants anymore, just wearing shorts and going outside. Like, it'll be 60 soon enough. I'll get used to it and it'll be fine. Whenever up to this point, had there not been a 60-degree day, you wouldn't have thought about it. It's like, it's winter, put on pants and go out. But once that 60-degree day hits, then it's like, well, god damn it.
Yeah, no, not having to wear a cap and getting to just wear like long sleeves and be super comfy is just so bad for the mind to go back to 30 degrees. It's so sad. But
I'm also kind of sad because I like starting in April, like the closer we get to April, as excited as I am for spring, I do lose like Saturday nights and all day Sunday, more or less, because I'm teaching golf. So it's like I got to do it for the money. Like we need it. We're trying to start a family and everything else, and like there's like content and all that hasn't taken off to the point where I cannot take a second job. But I don't know, that like the thought of like knowing that I don't have a Sunday morning free from April through end of October is always a little bit intimidating.
That is intimidating.
That's obviously in addition to like 9-to-5 job and then the amount of hours I put in for content. So it is what it is. But I know people have it worse, so why am I complaining at the end of the day?
And then even adding to it, Carolina hasn't played in a week. I mean, that's the real toughest part.
Probably good for you at this point. You needed a break from all the heartbreak.
It's nothing's better than going on a week break with a 13-point win or something like that. It was like a double-digit win. They played a real like softball pitch game, and they didn't completely choke it. It was everything I needed, but our defense is terrible now. We went from like we were becoming a top 20 defense, which does not happen in Carolina basketball, to going right back to where we were. But there was a fan. I can't remember what their flair was. I think it was Gonzaga or UConn. No, it might have been Purdue. It's one of those three teams. A fan posted this post about how UNC is going to win it all because every year that they're ranked 40th in pace, or ranked 40th or better in pace,
They go on to
they
win.
have won the title.
Oh
And this
no.
year they're ranked like 20 something. And he
Oh
was like,
no.
they might actually win it all. And I was like, okay. I was like, we're back.
You're getting
And
into like the
oh
NA
yeah.
made like quarterfinals were better than the West as
Except
long as you ignore like 5 years of history.
except this is Carolina basketball. Like is actually what we do. Like this they do win a lot. So there is some merit to my delusion.
Who has the most titles in NCAA history?
UCLA, they won 10 in this like way
Jesus.
back when. I can't remember when. I think the 70s. They won like 10 of them.
How
Might have been
mo-
the
how
40s.
many is UNC one?
Uh 6.
Are they the second closest or is there
No, Kentucky's at 7.
okay.
That's why I really want us to go win one again cuz we can go get another.
Wow.
Oh,
But I
are they
mean
at 11 or something?
UCLA hasn't been good in years though, so
Yeah, that's kind of the reason like nobody cares because but when UCLA last won theirs, like all of our dads weren't even watching. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Like, there's nobody left, generationally speaking, except like your grandparents to tell you how great UCLA was, and nobody cares who was great when their grandparents were a kid, like, or growing up. They just don't listen to it. So
You
now, like, the big thing is, yeah, Kentucky, Kansas, Carolina.
Con, you don't want to get me started on like West Coast sports being absolute shit compared to East Coast. Like it's not even. I just find it
Hey,
hilarious.
that's,
I mean,
I mean, it's been a long time since they've been able to hold up to the South.
not even. I'd say like the Midwest in general.
True, the Midwest too. I mean, the South can't fight a war, but they can fill a stadium full of football. I'll give them that.
Yeah. I
They
mean,
can fill one up
Texas high school might be like the most thrilling sport to watch because
for
there's so
real.
much personal investment into like high school football. Because like everybody. Well, okay, you don't know everybody. Obviously, in these Texas schools, you're
Mhm.
graduating like 1,000 a class, so it's a little bit different than in the Northeast. But did I tell you a high school that they were a division up. We were I think double A. I think they were single or quad A. LaShawn
Mhm.
McCoy grew up 5 minutes away from where I grew up.
Oh, okay.
He played Catholic ball nearby. It
Yep.
is disgusting. It was absolutely disgusting.
Yep. Dude, the amount of talent in the like back when I was I wasn't really a kid, I guess, but when I was in high school, my dad and I would like consistently go watch Carolina kids who were like getting recruited or committed.
Hmm.
We just go and watch them play at like AAU tourneys or something in Indiana because that was, I mean, Indiana still is kind of a hub
Yeah,
for that. And you could go like catch a game on the weekends and you would just see some like 5-star kid just absolutely annihilating people. And you'd be like, life is pretty good.
that was my.
Especially when Tyler Zeller committed.
Oh my
Ooh.
god. That so my dad refereed basketball up until I was about 12 or 13, give or take, and he
Mhm.
would ref high school basketball and like got to know like all the players, all the upcoming talent, like everything in the area. Like basketball, high school and college basketball was like my dad's pride and joy for a long period of time.
Yep,
Uh, he would take
that's
a
awesome.
he would take us to all like the local high school tournaments, not because like he would be refing, but just because like he knew some people there, and it was a good way to like if we weren't doing anything on a Friday night, it's like okay,
Mhm.
let's go see a basketball game. Pick a high school. We'll go to any high school. Like the probably my favorite one that we ever went to was uh, my high school had one good year where we were actually decent. We made it to states. I think uh, we made it to I think the Elite Eight. I think was how as far as we made it. But we played Harrisburg High School, which for those that don't know, like Pennsylvania, Harrisburg High School is like what Family Guy would make jokes about for high school of like downtown Harrisburg. Like it didn't have the best reputation, but goddamn did they have some good fucking basketball players. And anytime you went up against them, it was a physical game. It was close every time, but oh
Mm-hmm.
my god, was the crowd always into it every
Yep.
time. It was so much fun. And I think we won it with like a late
Electric.
3. And
Really?
it was an amazing environment.
That's pretty awesome. Yeah, I will give PF Wingers good point you made that UCLA was in the Final Four like 2 or 3 years ago, and who was it? San Diego State was in the last year. So West Coast does like, and it was UCLA versus Gonzaga, even to give them more credit. They do cook over there in basketball at least, but I mean, let's be
Come on,
real.
it doesn't
Like,
hold a candle to the Midwest or the East
yeah,
or the South.
The East
I
is
say
running it
it's
pretty
easier just
hard.
to say the East because that encompasses the South and like a good bit of the
Yeah,
Midwest. Like you can include up to like Chicago technically in the East.
yeah, we're the eastern side.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm in the Midwest, like what they call the Midwest, but Indiana is not Midwest. Like it's like Middle East, really. It's just called the Midwest because that's what it was when they first got here. They didn't know how far it went. But I mean, come on. College basketball is an East Coast thing. If you don't like
It
it,
is.
then one more.
High school basketball in PA, the private school league. No, see, I disagree. I grew up in the public school system in Pennsylvania. So I'm very in tune with like public ball. So I'm just
The
saying
middle, mix in the middle. We are the Middle East.
of the United States.
We're the peaceful Middle East.
Oh jeez. Jesus. All right.
Maybe if we start pushing it as that, we're the Middle East, we'll get Carlos to come bring
Oh God.
gaming to
Oh
the Middle.
God. He went there already. Jesus
We'll
Christ.
get G2 Carlos to save the Middle East gaming scene.
Oh my God. What are we gonna do with you? All right. Let's get into takes. Once again, if you want to call in, be sure to join our Discord. Hop in the lounge chat, and you will be eventually dragged in, like our first guest and the man who created the link itself. Oh, there he is. It's Con. How we doing, Con?
I'm doing pretty good overall. How are you guys doing?
Another day. We got Paul ramped up on
Another
college
day?
basketball, so he's obviously feeling semi-decent until UNC shits on his dreams.
I mean, I was just waiting to be like, Paul's all talking shit, and then UNC in a one-score game, Paul be like,
Yes. I'm a lot louder than that too. I'm sitting there yelling at
No, yeah.
college kids.
yeah, but you won't be like, because you'll know their records like 1-10 in one-score games,
Oh,
so you'll know the doom's
okay.
coming.
Okay.
Wait,
We're
wait.
not,
Pause.
it's
Did
not.
you just say Duke?
Doom.
Oh,
He
The
said
doom is
Duke.
coming. Yeah.
He
Oh.
knows we beat Duke.
I was gonna say if you're really trying to talk shit on behalf of Duke, I mean, come on.
Oh no, I'm not a Duke fan. No, a college roommate of mine was a huge Duke fan, and I couldn't stand it. I grew
Yeah,
up
you're
near
not
Pittsburgh, so I
Dukey.
was always a Pitt fan.
Oh, you got the shit end of the stick. Pitt was like
Yeah,
the
we
worst
got-
team to every time you guys hit 1 in the rankings, you'd immediately lose. Every time.
Dude, we got rid of the one good coach they had, and they've fallen off, the whole entire cliff. They used to be like a consistent top, like 25, top 15 team, and then they joined the ACC a little bit, and the ACC is kind of soft compared to the Big East. But then they fired Jamie Dixon, and it was just like, oh hey, all of our recruiting goes down.
Wait, who are you a fan of?
Pitt.
Oh, Pitt. Okay, I thought I don't know why. I thought you were saying Penn State. And
No,
when you
Penn
said we
State.
got rid of our one good coach, I was like, oh no.
No, Penn State has a head
Like,
coach.
I was like, that is. Pitt got hosed joining the ACC. For being honest.
That's the thing with Pennsylvania. You're either one of 3 fans. Regardless of where you're from in the state, odds are you're a Penn State fan. But if you're in Pittsburgh, there's a chance that you're a Pitt fan. And if you're in Philly, there's a chance that you're a Villanova fan. and
Yeah,
that's it.
generally, I liked all three of those teams when it came to like college basketball. You cheer them on a bit,
Villanova's fun to watch.
especially once Pitt went to the ACC. They all were in different conferences. Like they never really played against each other, so it was easy to. But as far as like what I was going to talk about, it's kind of adding on to the, and I even posted about it on your tweet about the best of three comments with Travis.
Oh boy!
And my take has been, and I'm waiting to get on Hotline League one of these days, whatever. But I know everybody's so like best of three, and I'm there with you. But I think single round robin best of three probably fits the best for everything all around because I don't think the viewership and the costs are like aligned yet to where you can go best of three double round robin and you try to force all those games throughout the day. I mean, we saw what weekdays were like last year. Riot's probably going to be scared to even touch weekdays again for the LCS North America. But I think with the single round robin, with the 8-team league, you get what, 4 best of threes on the weekend.
Yep.
You can really market and market each best of three, and like everyone feels important because like think of that first round robin, the best of one scenarios where like Shopify took a couple games off of FlyQuest and Cloud9. That there, like even if they win one game, that becomes like an important best of three. If it gets to 3 games, you're like, my team can't lose this best of three, or else like there's no easy comeback on this. I also think it allows like teams to prep for actual teams. Every time I hear coaches talk about their like in-season prep, it's always like we're just kind of working on things we're working on, and we don't really plan about our matchups that we play. And I think it's a good just training ground for all the coaches and potential leaders in teams going up to get into that idea of like, hey, we have one matchup this week. We're going to plan for this matchup. We can be more unique. I just think overall it's a great thing. I know some people want more, but like that'd be my take.
Before I lay into it, Paul, I'll pass this one to you.
You don't like the best of threes?
No, I have my own like fully thought out plan on this. So
honestly, when you said it was like just 4 best of threes a week, I actually kind of like that. I really like this take, actually, thinking about it. Like, it would be pretty easy. You play, honestly, the same, if not more, games against every team than you would have anyways. So I don't find a big deal there. The only thing that would suck is if, like, you get a really bad patch, but since it's not, like, it's so, spread out, and it's only 1 best of 3 a week, you can't really get hosed by one bad patch. You have plenty of other opportunities to get it back on different ones if you're playing well. So, I don't mind it as a way if they did it. I mean, we need best of threes anyways, because right now, I think best of ones are just not the most interesting competitively and also as a viewer perspective.
I agree with you. So the reason that this take is spawned, in case you didn't see it on Twitter, Paul, Travis Gafford is releasing a video next week that he premiered for subscribers, which, yes, I'm a Prime sub to Travis Gafford. So I went back and watched the video on it. And I couldn't disagree more with his takes on it, where it's like, I feel like there's so many people that are just trying to like band-aid different problems. Most notably, that nobody would watch Immortals versus Dignitas in a best of 3. I'm not disagreeing that they wouldn't. I'm not disagreeing that viewership would be bad. But that's not on everybody else to worry about, in my opinion. That is purely on those teams to fix. And ultimately, he comes back to saying like, oh, who has said that they don't like best of ones? Literally everybody that's watched the product on an international level. And like, that's your audience that you're trying to appeal to. And like, oh, best of 3s aren't good for attracting new fans. It works in every other game. Everyone. So how can you sit here and say that it won't? If you want to argue the cost point of view, I get that. Like, that part makes sense because Riot is cutting costs right now. Given that they just laid off 11% of their workforce, they're obviously not going to like spend a ton of money to expand the format and have additional days, nor go on weekdays, like you said. Either single round robin best of 3, I'm perfectly fine with that. I'm not a big fan of best of 2s. I'm sorry. Like, as much as people make the case for it, like a point system, all that, European soccer, whatever. I prefer best of threes. It's just like I want to have a winner and a loser. I don't want to deal with ties. I'm sorry, I don't. It's very traditional sports of me. It is what it is. I'm not going to change my view on that. I would not mind seeing single best of ones for a single round robin into immediately just a double elimination best of 5 bracket, TI style, where it's like you play best of ones for seeding and then immediately go into a full double elim bracket with best of 5s. Now, granted, that'd be one best of 5 a day, which might not be some people's favorites, and you might obviously some teams won't play on a given weekend, but I personally wouldn't mind that either. But I'm fine with best of 3s, single round robin. Like that gives 100 Thieves fans a day. Like, hey, this is our day to go buy tickets, to go into the stadium, to pack it out. I just find best of 3s and best of series to be way more entertaining than best of 1s.
Well, what I've always tried to compare League of Legends esports to people, and I know when I bring up sports comparisons to so many people in esports, they hear that and they get triggered in like a negative way. But I've always felt that League as a sport best represents like volleyball or tennis, to where like when you're watching it as a fan, the better the experience is kind of like a volleyball game where each game is its own set per se. And when you have the best of 3 or best of 5 format, when done correctly and scheduled correctly, I just think it just gives a better just overall experience. You get more time with the players, because otherwise, for attracting new viewers, you're seeing some of these players of these teams for like 35, 40 minutes and that's it for the day.
Yeah.
Which I know people say that's slow intake, but if you want to have somebody who like, if you want to grow a type of connection with people and viewers to make them stay, you need to have them have a little bit more time invested to where they feel like it's worth it, rather than it just be kind of like a second screen product, which what people say.
And PF Wanger's put in chat, like, I guess Riot would also be pretty concerned if they were running best of 3s with 2 of the 4 matches having bad viewership. Then that speaks to a bigger problem that you have, that I'm sorry. Like, trying to mask that with a temporary formatting change to make sure that everything's playing on a given day, you're putting a band-aid over a bullet wound. Viewership's gonna keep dropping if that's the case. Fuck it. Like, why are we catering to the bads, not the goods? Like, you should be looking to like chop off all dead weight if at all possible. Like, I don't care if we drop down to 4 teams and have to bring in CB Lowell. That's fine. Like, get the bad parts of this out.
Well, I also think here a little bit too, jumping in, and I should let Paul talk in a second, but like, we have an 8-team league. What are the orgs in this league that aren't good at, like, if they played against each other, would not draw an audience realistically?
Shopify and
any combination of like Shopify, Dig, Immortals, those 3 playing each other in any capacity, which is what, 3, 1, 2, and then add in the third. So that's 3 series that you have to worry about. You could say that some people won't tune in to like C9 versus some of the lesser teams, but I think in a best of 3, I still think they would. I think you have more incentive to still watch that rather than a best of 1 against Immortals. It's easier to tune out because the importance is nowhere near as much. Yeah, Cloud, I'm sorry. Shopify's in that list for now.
I do think, though, like, I don't really buy, like, it's a huge problem that there's going to be those bad viewership things, only because it's not a huge deal to me. It's, like, kind of on that team. I mean, if you look at, who is it? K-Core over in Europe. I mean, I get this is one season. If they play bad forever, then maybe their viewership falls off. But you can clearly build a brand without being a championship winning in the first league team, which they've done. I mean, they built their whole thing around second league, and then when they went up to first league, they struggled really bad, and we'll see how this next season goes with viewership. But if it stays up, it tells you need to just build a better brand. Like, that's kind of on you, and the format does need to be something that you're not too scared to actually make good now, because if you just keep Band-Aid fixing, I would say best of 2s is a Band-Aid fix, because best of 2s is basically, as Nick pointed out, like, no different than what we do now. We just do best of 2s over different days. But it's like I hate best of twos because teams aren't going to be too different. They kind of have to win it if it's point based.
And
You have to win both.
yes, and I just want to address Cloud's comment in chat because I knew this was going to come up. Knew he was going to say it. Shopify has the most watched game in the LCS spring split so far with 192K. You need to have more than one game in the top 5 for me to believe that's because of you. At the end of the day, the other matches, C9 NRG, NRG 100 Thieves, Cloud9 TL, 100 Thieves C9. That is not because of Shopify that they are at the top of the LCS viewership. That is a byproduct of the timing of raids for both Bailano and Cadril coming in after the LEC and the LEC raid coming in itself.
Okay.
Like, that is a byproduct of that. Like, that peak viewership number doesn't mean much to me. I don't have the money to pay for Pro, which literally breaks it down by team and shows you how much each team is getting in terms of viewership and what are the most viewed teams of each thing. But I would be willing to bet any money. Shopify is not, they're in the bottom 4 guaranteed. Bet any money on that.
And like the back the Shopify fan a little bit. Like, don't take that as like a negative.
No,
They're
it's
a
not.
New brand.
They're brand new.
You look like you look at the LCS. Like, there's 8 teams now, and we said 5 of the 8, and I guess if you don't include Dignitas, 4 of the 8 are like have pretty decent fan bases that'll watch no matter what their teams are playing. With NRG, TL, C9, and 100 Thieves. So being bottom 4 isn't as if it's like this horrible thing like it used to sound.
And to be clear, like the only 2 that I like take issue with in terms of their viewership are Immortals and Dignitas, who have been around longer. Shopify, it is perfectly understandable that you are working your way up. We just need to see that build as time goes on. You need to build a brand identity, build a fan base, which I think they are doing a decent job of to start. So we'll see how that goes long term.
And as far as like those series, single round robin type stuff, a lot of it can come down to just smart scheduling. If you get those games out, like put in one of those games in early first week when like everybody's 0-0, nobody knows if that team's going to be good or not, especially if like one made a playoff time before.
True.
Like there's a lot of stuff you can do to avoid having those dead spots, but that was kind of just my thought. I know Travis and his I know the players would want like a double round robin best of 3 because they want stage games, but they don't fully understand the cost isn't there to like support that. And Travis is like, I don't think people were gonna want this. Like, take a second and think of what single round robin best of 3s might be. I think it's actually a positive thing.
I agree. Paul, any final thoughts before we move on to Heely?
Not too many, because I think we kind of covered it all pretty well. It's just I do think like best of 3s. Oh, best of 3s are like the future if they want to stay semi-competitive, I would say, and also like building those individual brands. Because right now, no team really gets individual screen time except for like 40 minutes at this point, because we don't even have a caster like this segment. At this point, you're just sprinting into the next game, like praying that somehow these teams build a fan base through their interviews, I guess.
Interviews, plays.
If they win.
I don't know. But thank you, Colin, for the take, man. Appreciate it as always.
Yep.
Thanks for setting up the command, by the way, in chat.
I tried, yeah.
All right. Let's move on to Heely. I think he said that he has a game for us. And then after that will be Cloud, and I see there's one other person in chat. Again, if you want to call into the show, we'll be doing this until 9 o'clock. But we're always down for more takes. Speaking of more takes,
oh boy,
it's Heely.
Hello, hello, hello.
What do you bring for us today, good sir? Other than a really shitty Eagles hat and a really shitty Cloud9 jersey.
How's this a shitty Eagles hat? This is the hardest Eagles hat on the market.
Yeah, I'll give you that. It's pretty good. I just hate Philly.
I just hate you, okay? It's fine.
Fair.
Because he's a New Yorker.
No, even worse. Pittsburgh. Let it go.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Yeah. It's been a minute since we've had a little trivia here. I can't remember what the last thing I did for you was.
Probably the grid, I would guess.
Probably one of the grids. Oh, it was the Worlds grid where I put Varus into the void category. So this is going to be 3 of my subjective best teams we could send to Worlds of peak performance of players of all time in LCS history. Like, if you
Oh.
asked me to build 3 teams for us to send to this year's Worlds of the peak performance of any one LCS players, these are the 15 players I would pick.
Okay, we'll knock Bjergsen Double Lift right off the list now.
Well, see the format
We
first.
put them as a
Oh,
team,
wait,
don't
hang
we?
on. Hang on.
You have your team bank here.
Let me.
These represent the
Okay.
player's most famous team, or that they were on the longest.
Let me make this appropriate for, or make this size appropriate for stream.
9, 4 TSM, 3 TL. And then does it matter which tier they're in?
Yes,
Okay.
there are
Then
tiers here. It is 1, 2, and 3.
Okay.
just let me
if
know
you
when I
put
can
them
throw
in
out a
seeds,
guess.
like our first seed, second seed, third seed.
Yeah.
I'll give you guys 5 strikes on this.
Paul,
5 strikes.
Paul, you go
Yes.
ahead.
All
I
right.
think the
so
first one should be pretty easy.
First, I'm gonna go first part. And I'm gonna say Core JJ.
Core JJ, where?
Like first
Okay,
seed.
well, hang on. Would it be first or would Afro be first?
Port. I mean, why wouldn't Core JJ be first? He said peak performance.
Yeah, I'll give it to you.
Or
Core
peak
JJ.
This is
performance.
subjective, though.
Yeah,
This is subjective as well, to me.
See, that's I'm trying to read the individual, and I don't know how much.
Oh, is he
as a-
more of an Afro fan?
He's a Cloud9 fan, so he's not going to be as much of a not as much of a fan of anything TL.
Was Double Lift on CLG the longest? I mean, I know he never made Worlds in CLG.
Most famous or longest.
Most famous or longest?
I don't think
One of them.
Man.
One of them is their first team in the LCS.
One of them is their first team. So Immortals, I'm gonna guess is Heely and Rainover. And we gotta put them in it. We just gotta figure out their tier.
We'll take the tiers out of it. That's a little mean. I
Okay.
feel like.
Yeah.
Okay, then can
Hooney
I go with
Rainover.
Core JJ?
So Heely is correct
All right.
at third team. Rainover is not correct.
Strike. Wow.
Okay,
who else
Paul,
have they had?
we'll get back to Immortals in a second. We got to go Core JJ first and foremost.
Yeah, Core JJ.
Core JJ, second team.
Then he's going out.
All right.
It's got to be
Yeah.
Afromu in there.
It's gotta be Afro.
Afro is
That's
first.
that's CLG.
Okay.
See, I called that.
Can we say? Do we have to tell you the team as well that we're guessing
Yeah.
with it?
Well,
All right, I'm
some
gonna
of them
go.
will be obvious, but like
All right, EG Dave. It has to be Danny, right?
Yeah, well,
Like it's him or inspired.
there's some objective to this. There's some fan favorite. It's like
or
you
could
guys
it be?
should
Well,
know me
no.
enough to
He's
know
saying
the
his
15
rookie.
players I would pick.
He's saying his rookie year. Could it be JoJo? No, he doesn't. Does he value JoJo?
No,
that high?
JoJo's not a top
No.
3 mid. ever,
Okay,
is
well,
he?
let's get the 2 obvious ones out of the way. Bjergsen Double Lift.
Maybe he is.
Just put him on
Pearson,
Bjergsen double up.
TSM, Double Lift TSM.
I took
Oh,
both of
okay.
their TSMs.
Impact.
I think he played longer and did more on TSM.
You're gonna put Impact on there.
Okay.
You're gonna put
Well, he
C9
won
Impact.
4 at TL, didn't he? He won 2 at TSM.
Who did I have? Impact is correct, but I took his TL because he played more and did more with them.
Okay,
Oh,
fair.
okay.
And he's putting. Wait, who would be?
Come on, you know the number 1 top laner in North
C9 is-
American history.
C9 is Blabber.
Blabber,
I'm
second
gonna
team jungle.
assume you're going with Dyrus for TSM.
That's my boy.
Alrighty.
Dyrus is the only TSM player I've ever liked. The guy's a Giga Chad.
Who was
Man,
the
his
jungler?
number 1.
Oh, Smithy. That's the
Doi.
other Immortals one.
Smithy for TL.
Oh, it's
okay.
yeah. Never mind.
Who did I have these written out. It is Smithy. It is
For Immortals? Okay.
yes. He played longer on Immortals. He only had 1 season on ZOG. And it was the what's it called? The finals. And Hooney's
other-
first team in the league when they almost perfected was Immortals.
All right,
Yes.
you're going sneaky and high.
We have Sneaky, we don't have High. So that's
wonder
2
if-
strikes now.
I wonder if the other one's Berserker.
It might be. You're probably right. Berserker would.
Wait,
well,
would you do 2
who
players
other
in one?
ADC? Well, no, because
on the
we're thinking
list.
of we're not-
Wild Turtle's another one that it could maybe be, but Wild Turtle, I don't think.
you think
I don't
Wild
know.
Turtle over Peak Berserker? Really?
I don't know. I'm just going off of what the.
I mean, what it's
You
got to
said
be.
high.
It's got to
You
be
said
either
no to high, right?
He said no to high.
No to high.
It's got to be either Danny, Berserker, or Wild Turtle. It has to be. I can't think of anybody else that it would
For
be.
jungle, I'm debating if it's inspired or Spin Scared.
Come on.
Oh, it's got to be Sven. It's got to be Sven over Inspired all day.
The TL one might be a little tricky.
TL1 is either Jensen or Povelter.
He's gonna put.
But I don't think it's Povelter.
No, it's not gonna be
because-
Povelter. It'll be Jensen.
So let's go Jensen. Jensen TL.
Jensen
is the
C9.
C9.
Okay.
He's won
Alright,
more
so it's-
titles with them.
That a half strike.
No.
No,
The
this still
teams,
counts.
I don't. The teams are kind of mean. It's just
Alright,
to let you know
Jensen.
and give you an idea of who these people are.
Maybe.
So we have
yes.
the last row, which I expected.
Who all did we
we
get
have-
for
How many
junglers?
strikes do we have?
You have 3 more strikes.
We had what?
All right,
Black-
I'm gonna-
Favorite jungler and player of all time is one of these.
So we
Spin
had,
Scared.
Is that an answer?
no. So wait, who are
Alright.
our top 2 junglers so far? We have
This
Blabber.
was Smithy and Blabber.
So it's either inspired.
I'm gonna go.
or-
I think we go Inspired. Over
I go
Sven.
inspired. That's fine. Inspired.
Inspired?
Yep.
It is not inspired.
Fuck. Damn it. Sorry.
Dude.
That's on me.
It's not inspired. His favorite jungler of all time.
I talk this man and I wish this man back into the LCS all the
Wait,
time.
Meteos. Would it be Meteos?
What? Wait, no.
No,
his
I'm
eyes.
Paul. I'm
He's
asking
being
you. I'm
nice.
asking you.
Oh, me?
I'm asking you,
I was
not
about
him.
to say, no, I don't think it's Meteos. He probably would have put. Nah, he wouldn't have put 100 Thieves for them, but he might have.
Who
just
else would be?
to give us a-
It has to be either Sven,
softball.
Sven Skaren, or Meteos. It has to be one of the 2.
Is that true?
Spin Scared or Meteos.
Who else would there be?
That's the thing. I don't.
David might not remember this player, but I know Paul knows who this player is.
I mean, it's not Santorin. There's the odd one way back in the day, but
He is
I don't
currently
know,
in
dude.
collegiate, and I think he's in
Dardoch?
qualifiers.
Dardoch is what you're going?
No, you did not put Dardoch on this fucking list.
Is that an answer?
Yeah,
Yes, that's an
Dardoch.
answer.
It is Dar motherfucking Doc, the
Oh.
greatest
You're
North American
such-
jungler of
You're
all
such
time.
a troll.
You're
You're
trolling.
such a troll.
Dar-
You
Dardoch.
give Dardoch a clean mental and no mental issues. He is the NA GOAT in a season.
And if I had unlimited money, I'd be fucking rich. What's your point?
That's not.
Dude, Dardoch
That's
is
not,
not.
a similar comparison.
Dardoch's not above Spin Scared.
No, nor
And
Meteos.
For me, he is.
Meteos
Alright,
literally kicked his
Meteos.
ass on Optic.
Whatever,
2019, Optic Gaming. We
'Cause he-
have Dardoch
Oh
and,
yeah,
and
dude,
Meteos
in the
on the
height
same
of
team.
the TL drama. Good job, man.
Maybe C9 Vulcan. Do you think it's Vulcan he's going with, bro? For support third?
I mean,
let
it
me
would
see
make
here.
sense. Like barring Vulcan's drop off now, it would make
Mhm.
sense.
Only one of these players are still currently on a starting roster in the league, and it is not the team that they are listed for.
ESM supports. Let's think. Biofrost, Lust Boy, Xpecial. Probably not any of that. Well, we have 2 strikes, right? Or whatever.
We
You have 2
three.
strikes to burn.
Oh yeah, we.
All
said
right,
two.
we have 2 strikes to burn. Then we should just guess JoJo and Danny because it's going to be one of those 2, and that'll make this easier. So, which one do you want to guess, Dave? JoJo or Danny? Who do you think he values more?
JoJo.
Is that your answer?
Yep,
No.
JoJo.
Yeah, JoJo.
It is
Oh,
JoJo
thank
Pune.
God.
Wow.
Wow. So what?
So one of these is double.
What do you mean one of these is double?
Like there's a team that has 2 in ADC.
Like 2?
Oh,
Yeah, like 2 of the same. Okay, so it's either got to be what? There's no other.
It's between Wild Turtle and Berserker, right?
Has to be. I mean, I think you go Berserker over Wild Turtle. Personally, I think his skill ceiling is just stupidly high, and peak
All right, let's
performance
go
like
with
he's
Berserker. We
It's
lock it
not
in.
Berserker.
All right, Wild Turtle.
It is Turtle.
Okay, we lock that in.
Damn.
We have
Prime Turtle was a
two-
demon.
we have two more, Dave.
You
This
have one
is...
more. You just guessed Berserker and it was wrong.
Wait, I thought we had two to burn. Oh, you're
You had
saying
two
we
to
just
burn,
had two.
and then you
Okay.
just used one.
All right. I thought you were saying we had two to burn down to our last one where we just lose if we fail type of deal.
No, this is you're on your last one.
I got you.
It's a C9 support.
Alright.
It has to be Vulcan then, right?
It's Vulcan, Lemon Nation,
No.
or
Smoothie.
is there any other
No.
C9 sports that are?
Smoothie? It's
Where's
not-
Ven?
Don't.
not
If you
Smoothie.
put fucking Sven on this list, I saw no. I'm
not-
overruling this. I'm
Okay.
I'm locking in Vulcan right now.
To be fair,
Holy
this
shit.
man said
Holy
this
shit.
man said Dardock in jungle.
Fair,
Or
Oh my
fair,
scared and inspired.
fair. He's
just
dumb.
mad.
He ain't that dumb. He's going Vulcan 100% locked in.
Also, Closer is my fourth jungler, by the way. Not Inspired or Sven. So are
we
you
ain't even gonna
saying
talk
it's
about it, but just
Vulcan?
put Vulcan up in that spot.
It's not Vulcan. This is Smoothie.
Smoothie?
Smoothie is my goat.
That's not even fair, bro.
How's
That's
that not fair?
This list is not fair. Like,
top
how are
5
we supposed
supports
to
in
get-
history.
Is
He's
this a
not,
top
like,
5
you got-
supports in history
No,
list?
no,
No, this is
his-
a top
no,
5
his-
my players list. Or top 3
it
my
is
players
his
list.
game. It's
I
his
respect
game.
your opinion on draft, and I will listen to you there. I will not listen to your fucking all-time world's teams grouping for that. And we got to get to other calls. I'm kicking you the fuck out of this.
You
Yeah,
have
Yeah,
to
we
agree
gotta
with my
hurry
number
up.
one though.
We only
My
have
first
15
team
minutes.
is on point.
Your first team I will give you is good, but
Okay.
you absolutely like that's almost as bad as leaving Berserker off all pro list of like number 3.
Oh man, you guys are wrong and it's fun.
All right, we'll catch you later, man. Thank you for the list.
Later.
That, while fun, also made me irrationally upset at the same time. All right, let me get the next one in here. It is Mr. 1.3K subscribers on YouTube, quickly climbing, one of the best interviewers in the scene right now. What is that jersey?
It's a Brazil jersey.
Oh, okay. I will not say anything negative about Brazil yet. Not trying to burn that bridge. Not trying to burn that bridge until we get there, but we'll deal with that when it comes. How you doing, Cloud?
Doing well. How are you? How are you guys doing?
Pretty good.
Not too bad other than these two annoying the shit out of me. What you got for us?
The break is extremely detrimental for the top teams, as in FlyQuest and 100 Thieves, unfortunately, and it is very good for the bottom NRG and C9.
Okay, my number one counter that I always give to this is I get momentum as a thing in terms of winning on stage, but like the biggest criticism of 100 Thieves is that they need time to develop. Why would more time where they get to flush out their macro and actually like learn when they have the most to learn be a bad thing?
Because the playstyle that they are playing is very different than everywhere else. They're playing very heavily like aggressive that a lot of people like FlyQuest are not doing. And when you give people time, they will start to learn and adapt. That's why you see junglers like Mike Young come in and his first split, his first like 15 to 16 games do amazingly well. And then the last few games, just like not the same jungler anymore because people figure you out and they just get used to playing against it. The more you scrim against 100 Thieves, the more you get used to their playstyle, the more you find out how to play against it.
I mean, there's
Yeah,
nothing to play against when you're simply getting hands diffed because you suck. Like that's
All right, but you're acting like C9 and NRG weren't like. Honestly, at this point, this position, they have to be sitting there going, "Whoo! Thank the Lord, there is 2 weeks," because for their players, this is time to not just chill, but also time to like figure out all your problems, talk as a team, find your strategy, reformat. And he is right, like poor 100 Thieves is sitting here where, like, the more time they sit around, they're so young, they're probably all ADD'd out right now. just sitting there like freaking out. They don't know what to do.
Okay, but pause. You want to criticize? Like, I will give you FlyQuest might be a little bit more detrimental. Fine.
Mhm.
Our first game back is against Dig. I'm fine with that. Do you know who FlyQuest first game back is against?
Cloud9?
It's-
Cloud9.
I,
Do you know who Cloud9's second game back is against?
Was it IMT?
Team Liquid. They're
Yeah.
coming back
Ugh.
to a gauntlet. So all this, like, I look, I respect the opinion, and ultimately, I do agree it is definitely detrimental to the top teams in terms of like stalling momentum, because when you have momentum on stage, it's important. But C9 goes 0-2 again. They're done. They're done. It's over.
Can they mathematically make playoffs?
Yes,
if
they can still make it no matter what. But
and
I'm making the
was
prediction
7
that they're
wins?
done.
I guess you could
you-
get in 7 wins.
Yeah,
if they
yeah,
go
you
6
don't
wins,
need
they can't make it.
Because last week's Super Week, you have 3 weeks or 3 games in the last week. So like, there's a
Yeah, but they've only won 4, and if they lose to TL and they lose to FlyQuest, then they only have 3 games.
yeah, but
that-
assuming
that's
Shopify,
pretty great.
a combination of Shopify, Dig, and Immortals lose their games. Immortals could lose to Shopify, Dig could lose to 100 Thieves, then Immortals loses to NRG, and Dig loses to Shopify, and then all of a sudden Shopify's your 6th or your 5th seed, C9's your 6th seed, because they can still beat up on the bottom 2. Like there are a ton of mathematical situations where they can get in with losing records still, given the closeness of the league.
And you should love this, Cloud. You should love this 2-week break because your boys get B-Boy back.
do,
They get
I do.
time. Yeah, they're sitting.
I think
here
it benefits us a lot, but
Yeah.
I just think it's a lot worse because it's always easier for you to look at what the top team is doing and dissect it and try to break it down than it is for you to be the top team and be like, okay, now how do we improve even more? Especially when you're playing against, like scrimming against them. So that's why I think it's probably more of a negative than it is a positive for the bottom teams. Like, I don't think if Cloud9 doesn't fix their problems, they're going to implode and it might be even worse. But I just think even if they stay where they are, like regular trajectory, it'll still be worse for the top 2 teams.
I would just agree. I will agree with you on FlyQuest for that point. I will not agree on 100 Thieves, purely because they're already getting smashed in scrims. So whatever they're planning in scrims, it isn't what we're seeing on stage. So even they don't know what the difference is, other than just like being on stage, taking it more seriously, the hands difference coming in, like it's working out. They're being aggro in the same way that they are in scrims versus other teams where we always hear, oh, they're aggro in scrims, but then they go on stage and they play more reserved. I just think we have a lot more room to grow. That, yes, we could still struggle, but I don't think like there's this ceiling of like, oh, everybody's studying 100 Thieves to become what they are and elevate above them. It's like 100 Thieves is still studying 100 Thieves to try and figure out what the hell they're doing to then get above themselves. So it's like that. I agree with that point on FlyQuest. I don't agree with it on 100 Thieves.
I think for them though, they're so young that the momentum is kind of a big deal. Because if they're getting crushed this hard in scrims, like winning the games at the end of the week is probably a relief. But if they just play for 2 weeks in scrims getting crushed, I mean, at some point the weight of always losing is going to catch up to you.
Nah. You just get on stage and say, screw it. We're fine.
Just nah.
I don't know about that.
Counterpoint source me. Yeah.
How you feel about NRG, Paul? Are you faithful that they can bounce back?
I mean, genuinely, if your team doesn't make playoffs in this format, you just have to sit there and be like, we truly suck. Like, I'm being spared a terrible playoff performance because, like, 6 teams getting in means, like, you should probably get in. And I'm not too worried about NRG getting it. They should, realistically.
Who do you think is more likely to make it in, NRG or Cloud9? Because I think Cloud9.
I think Cloud9. Yeah.
Probably Cloud9, if I had to guess.
And shouldn't you be worried?
No, I'm not worried about the rest of the teams.
Okay.
I just choose not to be. And I'm also not worried because it's like nothing can get worse. I watched my team leave the LCS at this point, so just being here is nice.
It's nice.
I'm just happy you had to go through the same pain that I did. It's so nice to have a relatable point to talk to.
Also, I take that back. That I think Cloud9 has an easier road than us. Don't they have a really tough schedule?
They have the hardest schedule of the teams remaining, I believe.
Yeah, we don't play. Well, do we play FlyQuest again?
You do. You guys,
Yeah.
you play Dignitas, so that's one team that you guys don't have to play. Cloud9 has to still play Dig, IMT, and Shopify. I think that's their last 3 games.
Yeah, but
Okay.
didn't you guys win? Or yeah, you guys already won once against Cloud9.
I'm not saying they're easy wins. I'm just
Yeah.
saying in terms of like
Yeah, yeah.
standings.
That's fair. Yeah,
I
so
think Cloud9
That's a
has
good
an easier
point.
one.
actually, yeah, you're right. Because NRG goes Team Liquid, Immortals, so they have one easy one. Shopify, second easy one, but then FlyQuest, 100 Thieves. So in
Yeah, they have
theory,
a
there's
harder.
3 easy games for C9, 2 easy games for NRG.
Yeah, for NRG, you want those top 2 teams. We're like
And
counter
NRG
logic.
NRG lost to Dignitas, Immortals, and Shopify, meaning they don't have the tiebreaker right now,
That's true.
which is pretty scary. Because if it comes to a tie, if like there's 3 teams at 6 wins,
Mm-hmm.
pretty sure NRG doesn't make it.
And they have the
They've
O2
also
against
beat
C9.
100 Thieves and FlyQuest.
Yeah, and they have the OT against
So-
C9.
I can live knowing that as long as they beat FlyQuest and 100 Thieves again, they're in a good place. But obviously, that's like wishful thinking. But that's how they played. For some reason, they beat the better teams. They lose to like the teams they shouldn't be losing to. So it's I don't even know at this point. I don't know what I'm supposed to think about them. Literally, the harder the schedule, the better they get.
You confident in Shopify?
Oh yeah,
Why?
because we have Dignitas and we have IMT, who we should pretty much beat, and then we have a super slumping NRG, which shouldn't be like the hardest game. We beat them once. They're on a 4-game lose streak. Like it's not the worst possibility of winning those 3 games, and then mathematically we make it in over NRG because we have the tiebreaker, and then yeah, we just have to beat IMT. If we beat IMT, we make it. So we don't have the hardest path. Like I was saying this earlier, if we beat that Team Liquid game, we're in 3rd. Like the league is so grouped up that if you just have tiebreaker over the people that are right next to you, if we beat NRG again, we have tiebreaker against them and we're chilling.
Yep.
Dang.
What's kind of helping me with NRG and not being terrified is because of the fact everybody's so clumped and everybody's playing everybody at the bottom of the ladder.
Yep.
So we're guaranteed for losses to happen. Granted, I know the wins come too, but all we need is 2 of those teams to absolutely choke it. So, and realistically, I feel like between Immortals, Dig, and Shopify, and for you, it's probably Immortals, Dig, and NRG. I feel like one of them will choke, or 2 of them will choke. We're both just sitting in the same spot, hoping the same thing happens.
Any final thoughts? I got to move on to the final caller because we got a scrim in 5 minutes that we got to get to.
Oh
so
snap! No, I'm gonna head out. Thanks for having me.
I will pin your YouTube down below in this video for people to check out. His interviews are pretty damn good.
I appreciate it, man.
All right. See you later, man.
Take care.
Final call for the night. I can't see
Hog.
who the name is because stream remote on Discord makes that impossible.
Regula1410.
How's it going? You are muted, by the way. Paul, can you hear anything or no?
No, I can't.
We can see you talking, but we can't hear anything.
Sorry, can you hear me now?
Oh, yeah, there we
Yep.
go. How's it
Yeah,
going?
I was muted. Hey, how you guys doing? Thanks for inviting me. Honestly, I wish we had a little bit more time, but I'll try to be quick. So, a little bit of a context. So I watch a lot of the talk shows. I'm one of those guys who, whenever I'm, walking, commuting, so I watch the Flank for the COD, podcast, Call of Duty podcast.
Zuma
I
and the
watch.
boys.
I watch Monte Cristo stuff with Richard Lewis, and there's one idea that they often discuss recently now is, like, for example, Aches on the Flank, he says, he claims that the call CDL, the Overwatch League, was just one big scam from Activision's side. They didn't really care to develop like a actually sustainable thing, right?
Yep.
So it was just like, for them, it's just they wanted to scam a bunch of rich guys out of like $30 million or whatever the spot costs, right, in those leagues. And the same thing is with Richard Lewis, right? They say that for Riot, it's all about selling skins, right? So they will never care. They don't care. They didn't care for making like LCS, any of these leagues, profitable, sustainable. So it's all about, for them, it's all about control, right? So now I wanted you guys to put your tinfoil hats for a little bit, and what is your opinion about that? Is it actually, are these companies really were trying to create something sustainable, or is it like those guys are saying it's a scam, or they're delusional, or there's some other agenda behind that maybe we don't know about?
I will say I don't think you have any knowledge of the Call of Duty League, do you, Paul?
No.
Okay. I'll tell you right now, I agree with Ix on the Call of Duty League point. There is no world where those franchises were ever going to be worth that much. And Activision and the lawyers within were constantly cock-blocking any efforts that esports made to try and get into the mainstream spotlight within Call of Duty. Because very much like LoL esports, there's this massive League of Legends player base, but only a small portion, at least in the West, actually like pays attention to the esport. Same thing with Call of Duty. Call of Duty is like one of the most popular video games of all time. One of the biggest franchises in North America, yet the esport is very, very tiny. There's a market to be tapped into if done properly. But I'm of the belief as well that Activision Blizzard saw esports popping off with Call of Duty and said, well, what if we brought that in-house? And then they had this big future idea of like 20 years down the line, we'll be at this point. So we're going to charge the price that it will be at for that time. But they fucked up everything on the way. And the same thing happened to a smaller scale within Riot. I truly do think the difference with Riot, and this isn't me just kissing ass, this is just conversations that I've had with people within Riot. I believe that they had the best intentions in mind, but same thing, buggy ahead of the cart in a much less egregious way, because the spots that Activision was selling their league for were 20 plus million upward. Like some of them were selling for 50 million for the additional buy-ins. That's a scam. Always was, always will be. I don't believe the 10 to 13 million dollar price point that the LCS set was a scam. Like that, they had longer term plans that failed horribly, and that just is what it is. Like they didn't do the things that they needed to do to get there. There's so much more to go in on that.
Yeah, that's why I wish we had a little bit more time, because
I'm sorry.
Riot, in general, I think it's the same problem, even though it's Riot and Blizzard or Activision are a little bit different. I also, on the other hand, I have a problem, like what were all those orgs, you can't tell me that like the Kraft family is that dumb to put money in anything, right? So it's like, are they that delusional? Were they that delusional that they were thinking, oh, this esports stuff is gonna like become the NFL in like 2 years? What were they doing?
Well,
basically?
it wasn't 2 years. So that's the thing. Is whenever you're asking people for $10, $13 million, like those franchise payments were stretched out over a longer period of time than 2 years. They were stretched out over like 10 to 15. I mean, I don't know the exact number, but I'm assuming it was like 10 to 15 years, given that we just got notice that, franchise payments were paused within the last year whenever it started in 2018. So we know that they were still ongoing at this point. So it wasn't just like a 2-year plan. This was like oh my God, Coco, if you don't shut the fuck up, I swear to God. It was a longer term plan that COVID obviously hurt it. A combination of media rights just failing and never really driving their values. We never were able to like really mobilize a audience and fan base on top of that. Like you said, the main goal, at least on Riot's side, was always to drive skin sales. And it still is. And in an ideal world, you'd be able to track and see how much of esports drives skin revenue. And Riot, I guarantee, knows that data, but they're always going to hold it close to their chest for as long as they can be, so that they don't have to share any of that revenue with any of the leagues.
Yeah, but exactly. But then that's not a behavior that tells you, oh, you want to make something profitable. You're hiding something all the time.
Yeah.
Like,
That's the nature of like first party developers in esports, is like their main goal is to promote the game. And no matter how much they say, oh no, we want esports to be standalone profitable, your actions contradict your words. Your actions don't show that. Your actions show that you want esports to just be marketing.
yeah. I mean, especially recently, those moves like they canceled the midterm roadshow. It just, I mean, for me, it shows like they don't care anymore. It's like this is like they're truly going back to, this is just a marketing exercise, and we're just kidding ourselves that this is gonna be like a actual league. So I wonder how it's gonna end.
How it will end is everybody will just go over to the Valorant system, where quite frankly, like that's an ideal world where you're not paying $10 to $13 million to get in. If you want to be part of their system and part of like the whole esports bubble like that, then you can, and you're not you're not bankrupting your business to get in. They that shows to me that Riot had decent intent, put themselves in a situation that they can't get out of legally, at least not without like major financial repercussions. But then in their next esport, they saw it and fixed it. Because other than like the scheduling issues that are clearly a problem with the VCT and like not getting enough games in, like the system itself, like the structure of franchising as it exists there is pretty much perfect.
I mean, yeah, we'll see. I didn't think about Valorant that much. Yeah, I agreed because no, I definitely don't think some people are such doomers where they think that esports is gonna disappear because of this, or I don't think so. I think esports, whatever they were thinking about esports now, that's gonna happen in like 5 years. I still think that's gonna happen. That we're gonna have NFL levels. But that's like in 50 years or 100 years. And it'll probably be other games, I think. It will be something totally new. But yeah.
Absolutely could be. But
it's just we need time. And for me it's like, as a regular watcher, but also who works in like a corporate world, so I know data is very important, like people, we have whole teams analyzing all sorts of stuff. So to me, I still try. I think sometimes from time to time, how these companies came to this conclusion that this will work in like 5 years, even 10 years. For me, it sounds ridiculous. Yeah.
It is. It is. I couldn't agree more, brother. But unfortunately, we got to get to our script. I'm sorry, I did not. I'm sorry, we ran out of time on this. I need to get in the calls earlier.
No problem.
I promise I will do another one of these after MSI before summer, and then we'll do one before Worlds. And I promise, message me next time I announce that I'm doing this, and I will make sure that you get in first, so we make sure we get you the most amount of time possible.
No problem. Yeah, it's just like this subject, I'm not that, like, the main league is not my main game to follow, but ever since franchising, I kind of started following just because of all the business drama and so on. Yeah.
Who's your CDL team?
Optic. Yeah.
I know. That's what I'm talking about.
Because I respect how long they've been doing it, and so that's the reason why. Just you can tell that they care more.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, man.
Thanks you. Good luck with the games. Bye bye.
Thank you. Have a good one.
Thank you.
I know, Paul. I didn't give you the chance to talk on that one, but I know we got to get to our
I
script.
couldn't have talked. Yeah.
Yeah.
I couldn't have because I had to fix them.
Yeah. Any final words as I end this before we kick it over to scrims?
We didn't shout it out, or he didn't shout it out, but Khan does movie reviews for anybody interested in movie reviews.
Yes.
And I do listen to them, so give those a watch if you have a chance.
I'll link both Khan and Cloud's YouTube channels in the description of the video down below. Not the live stream, but the VOD. And be sure to check out both of them. They're really freaking cool. So that's it for us on the Crossover Podcast. I will catch you all later. We're on to a scrim. Adios.